Well, photography to me is everything I see essentially. You know, I'm always on the lookout for photographs, and my life wouldn't be the same if I didn't have photography in it. I think just whenever I'm looking, I'm always looking out for potential subjects. I'm always basically got an eye out, and I think that's just come because I've been so ingrained in photography for such a long time. It's sort of how I see the world now. I see it in pictures or potential pictures. That's really exciting, and I think I see things differently than people who aren't photographers, and I think that's quite exciting.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.
Actually, this one's quite dark as well, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I don't know. Do you want to describe it? Why don't you use the words to paint a picture?
It's quite chaotic as well. Maybe I've sent you the wrong images that tell you the wrong thing about myself. They're all quite chaotic, aren't they?
They're all quite perfect.
Well, this one is the one I was talking about earlier. This is a canoe in Tayo.
Right.
And obviously it's been dragged up and down into the water many times. And that's why there's so many scratches on it. And it's obviously been painted, over and over again.
Yeah.
Because, it's been through a really, really hard life. And what I think I find really interesting is, I'm guessing all those things. I don't know.
It looks it.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. But, that I've just come up with that. I'd assume that's what's happened. But what's interesting is that you can make up all these stories.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that you can make up whatever you want about an image is quite fun. And I think quite a lot of it is actually, rather than saying, this is something about how I feel or what this is more about my personality. I think it's more about I like to, imagine what the story could have been.
Mm-hmm.
There is storytelling behind it. It's just I'm allowed to tell whatever story I want. And so there's something interesting about that, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'm much less arty than you think I am. It is essentially I've seen a canoe and I like the contrast of colours, and pretty much that's pretty much it. And essentially it's I just like the beauty of that, and there are compositional elements in it. There's vertical lines, there's horizontal lines, there's a distinct subject with that red bit in the middle. So yeah, it's playing with my mind on how my mind works in terms of always trying to find a composition or a photograph in things.
Well, okay, so here, I'm going to jump in for a second. So here we have a photograph again, as you said. There's no real perspective. It's just a very flat image. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like archaeology, in which you're looking at different layers of paint, and you kind of go, okay, well, I can sort of tell this very, like the under color of it. I don't know if it's wood or fiberglass, and on top of that was maybe white, and on top of that maybe black, and on top of that this sky blue, and this really attractive, just rich, deep red. And you have, like, from the boat or the canoe being pulled in and out with the with the barnacles and the oysters or whatever, just scratching away at the paint. You can see these like scratch marks and these it's like this. It's, if anything, I'd say the image before was softer, and the image before where I said, oh, I see like continents or whatever, to be even softer, was this one. This one seems to be a little, I wouldn't say harsh, but the colors are like, you obviously have an appreciation for color theory and composition, even though I'm not talking about it in an academic sense. I'm talking about it as an intuitive sense, right? And then you reacting intuitively to these colors and just sort of composing the image. Sometimes I mean, look, I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you. But you know, it's like,
I mean, because I've never really thought of it like this, and you saying all this, all this stuff, saying, why are you taking these images? It's made me think. It's made me think about why I am taking the photos. I've never really thought about it. I've just gone. Oh, I like this. I'll photograph that. Oh, that'll look cool on a wall. And so yeah,
it's also, look, this is a reflection of my upbringing and everything, right? So I grew up in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
My training or education or whatever is very it's of a certain time. So let's just say during the sort of the height of philosophical postmodernist theory and all this stuff in university, and then so that was kind of one of my anchors. And so part of my development was kind of like, well, and also as in my poetic and my own photographic development, like we have the signified, right? We have the image.
Yeah.
And even though it's not patently obvious what you're signifying, what you're saying, I mean, just the fact that you've selected it, in my mind, in my, how I see the world,
yeah,
is a curation of standing in that scene in Taioa or wherever, looking at the whole world in front of you.
Yeah.
You decide to get really close and tight with a 70mm lens on a tripod to meticulously photograph this splash and expression of color.
Yeah.
But your everyday other side of your brain is photographing people in their, either in events or moments where it's like, just show me at my best. It's all up, like.
I think for me, it's an outlet, as you say. It's an outlet for creativity. That's pretty much it. I've also wanted to, that all of my stuff is, as you say, is not corporate, but it's for other people, and they're not printed out as fine art, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with this evolving patina, it can be presented on a wall as fine art.
For sure.
That's something that I haven't really done and have wanted to do. Most of my stuff can't be printed, and this, it's just a different process. Now I'm finding the perfect paper, in order to make these, stand out the best. I'm finding out what the best frame is, what the best mount combination would be, and it's just a completely different part of photography that I didn't do for a long time, since doing my landscape photography when I was about 17 or 18. So
right.
I think that's what it is that I just wanted something almost for myself, that I could print up massive and and look at it, and each image is so different. If I sent you another 3 photographs, you would have said something completely different, and that's cool.
But what I love is that anybody who'd go through the library, if we call it the gallery or the library of the shooting it raw photographs, would see this and go, okay, hold on a second, this is so different. That, you know what? Let's say that was a question. How's that? Let's put a question mark at the end of that.
I think it's just as different as you do. I have been influenced by sort of a friend of a friend who did these shots in Hong Kong. Actually, not just Hong Kong, in China as well. And he had done these sort of photos of walls, essentially. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I thought, he's just photographing walls, I'm not interested in this at all. And I don't know how I changed my mind. And now I think it's really cool. It's essentially like a little book. It's called Norman de Bracking. He's actually based in Hong Kong, and he's done it for a while. And I think he's got a gallery there somewhere. Mm-hmm. So, essentially I didn't make up the idea. But what I really liked about it is that, as you say, there's no rules. You can just go out there and photograph whatever you want. But when you're doing these abstract shots, you don't just go around with your camera and take a landscape 1 second and then take a portrait of someone else the next second. You go out specifically to photograph, these textures. So instead of looking around at going, oh, this is nice. I'm extremely sort of concentrating on every single little detail. I'm looking at every wall. I'm looking at every door. And it's completely the opposite of what I usually do.
Right.
So that might be it. The fact that I'm not looking at light at all. Usually, I'm looking at light as a photographer. You're looking at light, and you're looking at, you know, if I put the bride there, that will look good backlit. Or that will look good with that blue door in the background, etc., etc. And I'm not doing any of that with these photographs. I'm purely looking for colours and textures. It's very specific of what I'm looking for. You don't want it too old, because then it's just gross.
Right.
You don't want it too new, because then it's boring. So essentially, I'm looking for dramatic images. I've always done that.
Yeah.
I think these images are, you know, dramatic in the sense, you know, this one is very black and very dark, and
absolutely.
And potentially looks like, you know, when you have a 5-year-old and he comes back from the school and he's been putting, you know, scary things, drawing scary things, and the teacher's like, your kid has got some problems. And I can sort of see that now with you know, how dramatic and how black it is. But,
and the blood red. Come on, you can't get away from the blood red.
The blood red, yeah.
What are you trying to confess to, man? What are you trying to confess?
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm an absolute sociopath, and I don't know.
You're perfect. You're perfect. I love it.
No, but I think that's why. You know, if you have a look at my website, you know, some of them are neutral, some of them are, you know, really bright colours, and some of them are not. And I think it just completely depends on where I am, because the subjects are hard to find, and I think you need to have a specific requirements. They have to have some sort of compositional element. They need to have colours and lots of different contrasting colours. It can't just be, if this was just red and blue, it'd be boring.
But John, here's what I think. I think it's kind of like, even when you go out to photograph and you consciously think, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make a photo for my series.
Yeah.
You're also responding to what's actually out there. Unlike in painting, a painter can just create the composition. You go out and you sort of respond to the world.
Sure.
And that the visual data that's coming into your brain and is being sort of filtered through your experience and your idea of, I want to make this. You're also like, of all the things that you see, suddenly something grabs your attention, and that attention, that moment, is kind of what you're capturing and then sharing with other people.
Yeah.
And so I would, you know, I mean, I would hope that somebody listening to this podcast and this episode would be like, okay, what the hell are they talking about? Or what's so special? What's so, you know, what are these photographs? And hopefully they will go and they will see the images and realize, oh, wait a second, photography can also do this. And it's great. I mean, I love it. Do
you like them?
No, you lunatic.
Because they're like, if I put two together, you know, some people go, that is horrendous, that one. I don't want that on my wall. And then the next one, they'll be going, oh, that's really nice and neutral. That would look great in my. Well,
that's the thing. Different people are going to respond very differently, right? Yeah. So exactly. I just, okay, I only have 3 images here, and within that 3, there's so many different reactions and responses, and they're interesting in themselves, and they live together, you know. So I think, look, you know, you're not going to be great. Not everybody's going to love everything.
Yeah,
but there is definitely, you know, like for me, the strongest was the first and the second really is strong to me.
Yeah.
But I like this third one as well. So look, let's not even do that. I mean, like, ultimately it's not about me. It's about your process but also how this creative expression is a kind of counterweight to your bread and butter.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. And what's nice about it is also it's very accessible. So I can just like take myself off for half a day and go and try and find them. And I think it's almost like a treasure hunt essentially, and that's really fun as well. You don't know what you're going to find. There's no plan at all. You go to somewhere that is essentially you're hoping it's going to be something that I would be interested in. Whether it's an old fishing village or somewhere that I would enjoy anyway. Mm-hmm. And then I sort of have got these textures in mind and try and extract the character from that place. Mm-hmm. So I think, I think you're probably right. I can go somewhere and just be like, do you know what? I don't know what I'm going to find, but it'll be really interesting to go down this little alley, see what's down there, or let's see what's right. There might be some around there. Yeah, and it takes you into some very odd places. Again, it's all part of that adventure to try and find these. I think lovely sort of keepsakes of that place, and it forces you to go to places that you wouldn't usually go. So you go down this back alley and you go, do you know what this is pretty grim here. But then you go, oh, what's around that corner? That might be much better. And you might see something around there. And lo and behold, you find something that is, really interesting to photograph. And I think that's probably it. It's that sense of adventure and putting me into places where, well, I go there anyway because I want to be photographing. I love to find that sort of, the places that people don't usually go to.
Sure.
So essentially, that's what I love about it, and the images are just the icing on the cake, essentially.
Well, look, another thing about this podcast is that the conversations go, they go so fast in a way, right? Because we're speaking about moments in time, like 1/30th of a second or 1/60th or 1/100th of a second here, and then so they're just three images, and yet we could totally lose ourselves inside them.
Yeah, photography is so interesting, I think.
Yeah. So John, thank you so much for joining and for explaining your art, and hopefully, if one person kind of listens to you and listens to me and goes like, okay, let's go check this out, and then they look, and then that catalyzes a kind of a new way of thinking of photography for them, suddenly they may say, hey, you know what, maybe I want to try doing this kind of photography myself. And
yeah, they should do.
Yeah. So any bit of advice you want to give somebody who wants to go down this path?
Yeah, well, I think just get your camera out and go on an adventure. And you have to be a bit specific. You have to, go somewhere that, has got the history, has got, something that could be a bit more, say, dilapidated. And yeah, once you're there, just have fun and see what you can find, and go into all the little crevices, go down all the back alleys, go into all the places that you wouldn't usually go if you're just the casual tourist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you find that you see the place a lot differently to everyone else who goes there, because you're looking at it in such a different way.
Yeah.
And of course, you haven't got your eyes closed. You're seeing the place as well. I mean, Thai was epic. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. I just didn't choose to photograph, the fishing boats. I was in to photograph these. Yeah. So yeah, you get the best of both worlds, I think.
Fantastic. John, thank you so much. Good Thanks, man. Good man. I love it. Thank you.
No worries at all. It's lovely to speak to you.
Awesome, man. Okay. Hopefully I'll see you in Taiyo, or you'll see you in North London or wherever it is. Oxford? Yeah. No. Where is it?
Oxford, yeah.
Okay. Okay, good.
In South Africa.
Well said. Well said. Okay. I'll talk to you later. So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen, and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it